But you have to unmute him, I think.
Oh, okay.
So you have to unmute him. I'm not sure he can unmute himself, or he can type in the chat group.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Abdul Qadri. Somebody has chatted in the group. You can look at the group.
Oh, yeah. So I've asked him to unmute. I'm giving him the permission to unmute. So probably I'll call another person. Let's have let me call the sister this time. Sister Balkis, Regreshola, can we have you talk to us about why you joined this series? What do you hope to learn? Uh, I guess I don't have permission to let people unmute because I've actually given them the permission.
Okay, I'll work on that. Let me work on that at the background. Then people can just type in the chat box for now.
Okay, I want to take a. I think we can paint that for now. Let's start the event proper. Now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I am Adibayo Abdul Malik. I will be the one moderating to this event. I welcome everyone to this special edition of the Entrepreneur Journey Series hosted by La Sumega. Over the last two sessions, we talked about one, discover the entrepreneur in you, and build your business blueprint. Now it's time to hear real stories from real entrepreneurs. And today's segment is themed the stories of passionate and purposeful entrepreneurs. And for today's event, we've invited three individuals who we believe their expertise in the entrepreneurial. Hello? Now, Jazakumullah and with one for muting yourself. Yeah, so today's event will be handled by we have three speakers that will talk about their real stories in their entrepreneurial journey, how they've successfully become masters and in their various industries and how they face their challenges. Before we dive on, I think it is good as Muslims, we need to start today's event by um, on a good note by having our opening prayer, and that will be handled by Brother Ridwan Ibrahim. Brian, Ridwan, if I may please, can you unmute yourself and take us through the opening prayer? Jazakumullah khairan.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam. Give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His infinite mercies and for the mercies of life and Islam. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He guides us through this session, being third session. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that guides facilitators who are going to be sharing insightful stories, how they made it to being entrepreneurs. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them right. Also pray to make each and every one of us at least pick something to use and guide as much of us that wants to venture into being entrepreneurs. May Allah guide us lives. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum
Wa
salam.
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Ridwan. May Allah put barakah into this session and make it a beneficial one for us. I mean, now moving to the next thing on the agenda, we'll be introducing our speakers, and I will be inviting Sister Amina Olaiwola to take us through the introduction of the speaker. Sister Amina, you have the floor. Sister Amina with us. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Walaikum salam, sir. We can hear you, but we don't know which what's the identity of Sister Amina so that she can be unmuted. Okay. I don't know. Is she the one with?
I don't know. Let me just take that part.
Okay, you can go ahead and take it.
Okay. I'll be starting with our first speaker. That will be Mr. Obini Omobolaji Habib. Now, Mr. Oduni Omobolaji Habib is from Ibubu, Lagos State, and he attended Lagos State University, studied chemical and polymer engineering between the year 2002 and 2008. Upon his completion of his first degree, he went on to take the NYSC program where he served as Bayelsa State. Afterward, he started the trading business. During his NYSC, he developed the interest to venture into business again, submitting the CVs for job. Mr. Oduni Habib has engaged in several businesses such as salt production, selling of beef, and has worked in telematics companies such as the MD Tech Solutions. Unfortunately, after all these business failed for different reasons, in 2014, he took on the decision that establish a business and stabilize it for himself. That in April 2014, and since then he has been the owner and facilitating the company to date. Moving on to the next speaker, Mr. Olufemi Rufai. Mr. Olufemi Rufai is a seasoned commercial specialist with over 15 years of progressive experience in the oil and energy sector. He began his career as a resident market developer with Nigeria Bottling Company PLC and later served as a business analyst at Gas Aggregation Company Nigeria. His credentials include certifications from London Business School and other globally recognized platforms in such as strategic value creation and successful negotiation. Moving on to our last speaker for today, Aja Sekina Alabi. She is a certified food safety chef with over 10 years of experience in the culinary act. Originally trained as a chemical and polymer engineer, she transitioned from engineering to pursue her passion for baking and culinary innovation. Mrs. Sekina is known for a unique style of blending African traditional dishes with global cuisine. She's currently working as a Commis One chef at Halifax Conventional Center in Nova Scotia, Canada, where she has been full-time since 2022. She also runs Sun Eats and Treats, a part-time culinary business, and a full-time baker and salad. Mrs. Sekina holds a diploma in culinary management honors from Nova Scotia Community College and a bachelor's degree in chemical and polymer engineering from Lagos State University. Uh, that, that's a brief introduction about our entrepreneur for today. I believe from the introductions, we will pick one or two from our speakers. Now, moving on to the lecture proper, I will be calling on Mr. Bolaji Oduni, a seasoned commodity trader who transitioned from tech job to founding commodity. Mr. Bolaji Oduni, you have the floor.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Abdul Malik Adebayo, for giving me the floor. And I thank the organizers of this program for having put something like this together. We hope that the intentions behind putting this together will be met by the grace of Allah. And I've been told earlier that it's something that is not going to take more than 10 to 15 minutes. So the what I've been told to discuss is to narrate my story from being a graduate of engineering to now being an entrepreneur or a businessman. And as the introduction already put it, alhamdulillah, a few people that are also attending this program are people that we know each other very well, and we all graduated, year 2008, and afterwards we went for youth service. I think for most of us went for youth service November that same year. Of course, I'm aware some people had a delay, and personally, I was in that batch C for that year. We started in November 2008, and it ended November 2009, I think, or October 2009. While I was in youth service, of course, you are already thinking what's next after you finish your service. You are planning ahead what's going to be next. And then before that, yes, I did my degree in chemical and polymer engineering, but I had already generated some interest in ICT. I did some networking. I did Cisco programs, CCNA, CCNP. We did all of those things. So I felt that, okay, maybe perhaps it was just going to be easy for me to pursue a career along that path. Maybe it's going to be easier than the chemical engineering part. But again, somehow I felt that I preferred to be on my own. I preferred the independence of being on my own to being tied to some rules to resume work at a particular time. And, all of those things, I felt that I was going to have that freedom. So the interest in being on my own started to grow while I was in service. So I finished, like I said, November 2009, and I tried to also have this discussion at home. And you know, parents, they have a plan for their children, and once you bring something different from the plan they have, at times you meet with some resistance, even though it was not entirely a resistance. But then my dad was of the opinion that I should at least work under a company or someone, and not just jump into business without any experience, without any prior know-how and all of that. Of course, it was a little bit disappointing because I needed the support I wanted from him at that time, and I was really, really, and I thought I could do it anyway. But then I had to go by his advice, and alhamdulillah, it wasn't long before I got a job at Kids Technologies. They are into ICT installations and repair, internet service provider, and all of that. So I worked there for some time. And I still had the goal of being on my own, running my own business while I was there. So what I tried to now plan was that, okay, let me be working in kids. And while I'm here, I will set up a business for myself. And if I am able to nurture it to a very, very comfortable stage, I would withdraw, resign from kids and go and face the business. This was the plan. And I started the first year, the second year. By that time, I now started to venture into some trading businesses. One of it was we applied for being a distributor with Dangote Salt, Royal Salt, and we're getting these trucks. We're selling it at Idiroko then to some of these traders. We're moving it from Lagos there, and we did a few trips. Then along the line, during discussion, we met a few people that told us, look, hey, this salt that is not something difficult to produce, that we can get the raw materials, we can also produce this thing, bag them, and sell and make more money. We did the analysis and we felt that it was good. So we got this machine that would break some of this, the hard salt down. I can't really remember the process then, but we tried it, and one thing led to the other. It failed, and we lost a lot of money. So that collapsed. And again, after some time, I decided to do something else like that. And I can mention about 3 businesses that I did while as a staff of Kids Technologies, hoping to nurture it to a very comfortable stage and then resign and go and face it squarely. Unfortunately, all of those 3 different businesses that I tried to launch and run during that period failed. Of course, for different reasons. Some lack of funding, some lack of attention, some maybe lack of the technical know-how and availability, and many, many reasons, different reasons, which as if I start to mention them one by one may take too much of our time. So at some point, I felt that there was a common factor that I saw in these businesses that were failing. One thing, of course, like I said, different reasons, but one thing that kept reoccurring was my absence, my lack of attention to the business. The people that were meant to run it while I was working did not give it the kind of attention I would have given it if I was there. And it kept making some sense. It started making sense to me that, look, I don't really think that it can work this way. If I want to face this thing, then I need to leave this paid employment and go outside to work it. I mean, this was now a very, very difficult stage, going from a stage of a known income to a business that could also fail. Even if I'm there, if I go out to manage it, it could also fail. So, and at that time I was already married, I had a child already, so the responsibilities were higher than when I just finished NYSC. So it was not as easy now because I had to provide for these people that were under me. But then I consulted with my wife, a few friends, and somehow I arrived at the decision that, look, is the earlier I do this, the better for me. And of course, at that time also, I started to face a lot of pressure at work. Everything combined together just made me resign in 2014. And one thing I must say, which I try to mention all the time that I have the opportunity to speak about this, is that when I was tendering my resignation, I had no specific business I was going to face. I had no specific job I was going out to face. I just knew that out there, I would figure out what I'm going to do. I will set up something, I will run it, and that like that. And let me just get out first. that was it. And April 2014, I was out. I think after attending my resignation, I think a month earlier, then I left the business and I came out with the mindset of starting a business. Before I came out, before the resignation, I already spoke with my dad, and I eventually got his support. The same person that insisted that I should go and work, and he felt that perhaps, okay, at that time I had 4 years experience. I got his support, and the first um funding I would have for business came from him. He's late now. He died August last year, and he was the one. He didn't just support me with going ahead. Okay, go ahead and resign. Don't worry, you do something. Even despite the fact that he knew I didn't really have a specific business, he supported me with a substantial amount at that time, and it was good. So what I did was, at that time, I now started to think of what we could do. Then there was something that was really, really um, catching my interest at that time. Smartphones started to become popular. Smartphones, the likes of Techno, Gioni, it has started to become really, really popular at that time. So we felt that, hey, we can create a brand of myself and two other friends. Yeah, we can create a brand of smartphones, and instead of let market a brand. We will produce it in China. They will brand it for us. We'll come here and build a brand around it. And it sounded like a good idea. Smartphones, educational tabs, and all of these other accessories, power banks, all of this. So we contacted some Chinese manufacturers and it was set. We figured out the amount we were going to need. We got all of this together. We registered the company. The company was Cartech Technologies and the brand was Cartech at that time. Now we did all of this. We got the manufacturers. They built it to our specification. They sent some samples. We approved of the samples. Then we placed our first order. Now, I think our first order was 100 units at that time. And well, we didn't really have the experience selling then, but because we knew what was at stake, we knew the amount we had invested in this. We went all out, all out. We were selling, hey, advertising this, that, and before we knew, with the 100 units, we ran out of stock. And the units we now started to sell, okay, we now needed to establish a support center because people were having issues with the phone, with the tab. Hey, the earpiece is not malfunctioning. My speak, and we now had to set up a customer service center, which we did at Okwebi Road then. And things were really, really moving at a very fast pace. And at a time, we felt that, look, we needed huge investments to get this thing to the next stage because we saw the market was there. And alhamdulillah, we're getting favorable response. So we wrote proposals. We needed a lot of money at that time. And we approached a few people that were interested in investing in our business. They saw the potentials, but they demanded for some structure, which we didn't have at that time. So the job was now to go back, create this structure and make it like a serious business that we wanted to portray to investors. And this was it. Why doing this? You know, we had sold 100 units. We felt that we shouldn't stop. We were rolling over that that income that came from that sale. So we're just ordering in 150 units like that, and till the big investment comes, let's just continue rolling this over and keep selling like this. Then around September, if I'm not mistaken, then this dollar issue started to happen. 2014, we went to the bank to get some dollars that we would use to place order for one of our shipments, or that we used to pay the suppliers. Then we were told that to get dollar, I think it was 172 naira. It moved from 160 something to 170, and we were shocked. We went back to the office, we put it on paper. If we get this dollar at 172, we will not be making any profits. We would be out of business. We can't compete with what the likes of Techno and the rest were doing. So it became a very, very difficult decision to make. Do we just keep doing this and hope that the dollar would stabilize? Okay, that this was a decision we were left to make, and somehow we felt that we should continue. We did one even though we knew that the numbers were not favorable. At the end of the day, by the time we're going to do another one, the dollar situation was worse, and it was almost looking like we cannot continue. And at that point, the business started to see a decline gradually. It was nearing its, it was seeing the end was near. Not because it was a bad business, but we didn't have the strength to, the shock, the absorber to absorb the shock that dollar change was bringing. So this left us in a very, very difficult situation. We couldn't sustain it. And at that point, the business started to crumble. Now, as an individual, we have to start thinking of what's next. What's the next thing to do? So somehow the idea just came to mind that, okay, if this business has suffered because the dollar is increasing in its rate and this is import based, then it means the reverse, which is export based, should be able to benefit from this. I should be able to benefit from this development. So I now started to do a lot of reading. Okay, what exactly does this export entail? Import was suffering because it needed a lot of dollar and dollar was inaccessible. Export will bring in dollars, then it could cover for some of these shortfalls. And this was the idea behind it. I'm sure I don't need to explain much. So I started to read up. Okay, what can we export that would earn us dollar, and then perhaps we will now be able to. And this was how the export business started. All of this, I mentioned it started in September 2014. It took us to around February 2015. And that February 2015 was my decision that, hey, export was the way to go. But again, what do we export? Now, I was seeing a lot of things online. And then I narrowed everything down to agro commodities. It seemed more accessible or easily accessible than other things that I was seeing that people were exporting. And that was how it started. At that time, I didn't really know how to start, but I knew I needed to register a company, do some registrations with some agencies and all of that. But I was also not sure. What if I do all of these things and I don't get someone to patronize the business? Then I started from where people would perhaps have ended. I started to say, okay, let me channel my efforts to securing some patronage. Even before registering the business, I started to look at who are the wholesalers of these items that I want to export in Europe, in the US. I just started to go online, extract numbers, extract emails, compose emails to them, send it to them. Hey, this is what I have to offer. Are you interested? I see that you are a wholesaler in this item. I can supply you in this quantity, blah. And before we knew it, by March, I got someone that wanted to give a trial order. Okay, supply me X quantity of this and let's see how it goes. And that customer was in the UK at that time, Bobby Brigland. I think the name of the company was Trees Life. So, and that was the first order I was going to fulfill. And like I said, this was even before registering a company or having a complete registration, let me put it that way. So I had to quickly rush the company registration, all of that, put that in place, and started to source for the item. What the order then was, I think, chili, red chili, as in dried chili packed in, and it gave me the specification on how to package them and all of that. I did all of that. And by the time I was going to ship, get paid, I saw a very, very attractive profit from it. Just one shipment. It was paying like up to like 3 months salary when I was in a paid employment. And I was like, is it this good? So I put more effort in it. And gradually, that was how Tradol Nigeria Limited started. We started to ship in small quantities, 100 kilos, 200 kilos, 500 kilos, 1 ton, 2 tons, and it expanded into container loads and like that. And we have run that business from 2015 up to date. What started with chili peppers at that time has expanded into a lot of other commodities. During this period, we had exported moringa seeds, moringa leaves, moringa flower, hibiscus flower, sesame seed, dried ginger, cassava seeds, raw cashew nuts. And if I'm missing out anything, there may be just one or two. These are the items that we have exported during this period. Of course, many challenges. Running a business in Nigeria alone, the fact that it's in Nigeria has its own accident challenges, but not impossible. During this period also, we established a nursery and primary school, and that was based on need, and alhamdulillah, it has also grown into a good business to sit and pay attention to now. And just last year, 2023, we started the secondary school for that. The primary school started 2017, and then 2023 we started the secondary school. Alhamdulillah, it's all growing. Also along the line, I ventured into real estate, and we registered a company for that in 2022. And alhamdulillah, this company has engaged. I think we are on our third project now. Yes, yeah, we are on our third project now. And that's Darul Homes Nigeria Limited. So the goal is to provide competitive housing, comfortable housing for Lagosians and all of that. So these are the things that we have done. I mean, there's a lot to say. There's a lot to say on each of these businesses. There's a lot to say, and there is something that I've learned. There are a lot that have been learned over the years. But again, all of this cannot be mentioned within the 15 to 10 minutes. I've already passed 15 minutes. I'm sure of that. It's past 15 minutes already. So, and we have not even really discussed anything. Maybe if there's a question and answer segment, maybe if there is more room, we can talk about some of these other things like the opportunities, the challenges, the prospects, the vision, and all of these other things. But for now, I would respect the time and go back to Brother Abdul Malik Adebayo, who has given me the floor. Jazakallah khairan. And I hope I was able to present it at least close to what was your expectation. Jazakallah.
Jazakumullahu khairan. That was very inspiring story. And personally for me, I think I learned a lot. I would have loved you to continue, but time is not on our side. As we all know, time has been fast spent, and we have two more speakers to um, tell, take us through their stories. Um, Moving on to, so as not to waste much of our time, moving on to the second speaker for today. That will be Mr. Femi Rufai. Mr. Femi Rufai, please, can you take the invisible mic and take us through what I believe your interesting and inspiring story. Jazakumullah, can you have the floor? Assalamu alaikum. Is Mr. Femi with us?
Please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Jazakumullah.
All right. First of all, I would like to thank the leadership of La Sumega for putting this together. But not to waste too much of our time, I would stand on the existing protocol and just go straight to the topic of today. Unlike Brother Abibu Duni, right, I still work in paid employment, right, and I work in the oil and gas sector, right. This is not exactly entrepreneurship, but some of the learnings from my corporate world we try to apply in our entrepreneurship journey, and I can confirm exactly some of the sentiments shared by Brother Oduni. So I would like to start from where the entrepreneurship journey really started for me. So in after leaving school, right, I started my first job working with Nigerian Bottling Company as a resident market developer. And what exactly was I doing at the time in the street of Kaduna? I was basically ensuring that people buy Coke, right? And to ensure that people buy Coke, Coca-Cola employ the push and the pull strategy at the same time. So on the street of every state, you will see them aggressively campaign for why Coke should go along with your food. And they also make sure that all of their value chain players make this product available, right? So I started doing that as my first job before I then joined the gas aggregation company as an analyst. But beyond all of these corporate activities, helping companies commercialize their products in the oil and gas sector, right? I also, on the side, in partnership with a number of brothers, run a company that we called Math Solution, right? And we incorporated this company in 2012. And the objective at the time was basically to start to whet our appetite for entrepreneurship without the courage of leaving paid employment. So Brother B was able to take the decision and step out of paid employment, and I think it has paid off. So it's one thing that we should all learn from, right? I think the critical point is that you must always have a plan, even though it's not obvious that Brother B had a plan, but in that absence of plan was really a plan, that there was some kind of fallback arrangement, right? So in our own case, we decided to continue to run this business on the side. So we started by setting up the business. We incorporated the company in 2012 with the objective of providing services in any area that help to improve lives of people. So at the time, some of the businesses we ventured into was that we acquired land in Abuja, Nasarawa axis, and decided to start planting. We didn't have the experience, and we also didn't have the time. So we had two issues in our hands. We got people that we thought had capacity, right? And like the brother said earlier, human capacity is really, really a big problem in Nigeria. Sometimes it's not as a result of lack of competence, but character is usually lacking. When you entrust people with money, you entrust people with, you realize that they falter. It doesn't matter if they are Muslims or not, right? It is when you give your money out to people, then you then start to hear stories. We did this farming business. Unfortunately, stories of animals entering the farm, destroying the farm and whatnot was really what we got out of it. Then we had to move on. We moved on into just getting into the middle of that value chain when we couldn't successfully start from the production phase. So we decided to start to get to buy commodities and trade locally. We again engaged somebody, one of our brothers, to handle that phase with direct supervision from one of the members of the group. Again, that also came up with various stories. There are incidences where I think we bought some animals at the time to sell. And by the end of it, I'm not sure we even got money for one animal. It was that bad. There was first incident of theft, disease, and all sort of, just people coming up with all sort of stories on why your money would go. So you would say there are many lessons that we took away from this, but one thing that we did not stop to do is that we kept on learning from these things and doing things differently, right? So from that point onwards, a lot of us moved out of the city where we were trading at the time, right? Some of us moved back to Lagos, right? And we now focus more on providing technology services. But one thing I would like to mention is this. You would realize that we are burning cash, right, in all of these trials that we are doing. But there was one thing that we were doing on the side. We were able to identify more reliable partners that we could inject some funds into their business. And the minimal type of returns that we were getting out of those businesses were part of the cushions for the cash we were burning in our own direct test runnings that we were doing. So I think the lesson in all of this is that you want to take calculated risk, you will lose money, right? And you would make money. I would not say that in all of these activities, we did not make any money at all. We did make, but I think overall, when you are not available, when you are not able to supervise things yourself, when you don't have the right caliber of people, most of the time it comes back with stories. Today, Matt is into technology services. Matt provides CCTV solutions, basically access control solutions, boom barriers, and whatnot. This space is a space that is currently expanding. Right, we have a number of people that are helping push this front. But what we've done this time is that we've changed the operational structure. Instead of having people take control of it and have our fate in the hands of people that then come back with story, right? We manage it in a different model with a bit of control within our hands, and we've made ourselves available a little bit more. We have more participation from the owners in terms of directing and leading the company. So I think the approach this time is to ensure that even if we don't make a lot of money, at least we preserve the investment. So the objective really for us, right, is to create a foundation that can then encourage one or two of the owners to be able to step forward and lead this in short time to come. So if I switch slightly to corporate experience, right? In the corporate world, I have led commercial activities in a number of organizations, and they don't do differently. It's exactly the same thing, it's just that it's a different scale, right? But what you would see with typical big businesses is that they are not emotional about decisions. You follow your hunch, but you also follow the books, right? In every business, you would realize that for investment decisions to be taken, you must do the work. You must go and show how this would make money for the investors. If you are not able to demonstrate that it will make money, right, there is no way they will support. So, and that is what is lacking today when you see a lot of our brothers, right? A lot of people want to get into business. When they make proposals to you on what they want to get into, you will struggle out to see how they can sustainably make money from some of these their proposals. And when you ask them to go back and implement such changes, right, to ensure some level of sustainability, people struggle to see why, and they probably take it as feedback that you are not interested. So I think really, high level, this is what I have done in the last how many years. It's not a typical entrepreneurship type of story, but it's a blend of corporate reality and an attempt to get our legs into entrepreneurship world. So like I said, part of what we do today, even in math, is that we continue to find good businesses with people with character, and we inject some of our equity into those businesses to generate funds to continue to steer the affair of our businesses. So I think really I would pass the mic back on to Brother Abdul Malik. Thank you.
Firstly, I appreciate your efforts to keep to time and trying to save time. For that. Before I move to our last speaker, personally, I've learned a lot from two speakers. First of all, the ability to calculate risk. And secondly, looking at the ability to look at, oh, how is this business, how can it be sustainable? Like Mr. Oduni mentioned, he noticed that awareness he had. He noticed that, oh, for me to sustain my business, I think I need to be part of it. I think I need to be there to to be present, which took him that bold effort and that risk to leave his, let me call it 9 to 5, and to venture into his business 24/7. You see, if you look at it 9 to 5 and then 24/7, you can see that, oh, he has more time to focus on his business. Also, Mr. Femi Rufai mentioned about most investors looking at how can a business, how where is the sustainability in this business? Why do I need to invest? I think personally from their stories, I think it's something that as an entrepreneur you need to look at. Not to waste most of our time, I think I'll move to the last speaker, Ajia Sekina. Please, you have the floor. Take the mic and you can tell us about your story. Jazakumullah khairan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it. My name is Sekina Daramola Alagbe. I graduated from chemical engineering. My entrepreneurship journey. Okay, when after school, if I could remember vividly, I worked with an oil and gas servicing firm on the island. So waking up for 4 a.m. to catch, I wake up around 3:30 to catch a bus to the island and getting back around 11 a.m. because I actually stay in Ota and Ota to VI. It's quite a distance. After a while, I thought to myself, is this sustainable? No. What do you like to do best? I like cooking. Watching my grandma cook and my elder sister make pastries. I've always loved it. And back at school, I'm always like cooking for my sisters. So I feel, okay, let's give it a try. But one mistake I didn't make is just starting a business without having a background knowledge about it. So I actually went back to a culinary school. I went to a culinary school. I learned how to make regular cakes, small chops, and stuff like that. So I started with cakes, small chops. It was going well, but I noticed that there were a lot of people in that, and the way the people's perception about it is it not just flour and sugar? How come your own price is different? How come your own is out? And it's very hard to explain to people, considering the environment I'm located. If I'm probably in Lagos, it'll have been much more better. But I'm in Ota, so people don't really understand where you give out quality, except for some few people. So that was when I decided to go into bread making. And that was what actually, how will I put the English, made my business well known. I had to go and study and go for a school in bread making. The journey wasn't smooth because, as the two speakers said, human management is terrible. But one thing they don't know is that I have my background knowledge. It's what I can do. For example, there was a day my baker decided not to show up, giving me flimsy excuses. I had to go into the bakery. I had to make the bread myself. So I guess someone told him that she's working today, that you have enough bread on your rack. So he came, and when he saw, he was surprised. So ever since then, they don't really take that part for granted, that if I don't come to work, you have to beg me, you have to do this. No, they don't. And if you want to do something well, you yourself have to be 90% available. That is what I experienced in Nigeria. Because if they see that you don't have the knowledge and you are not available, then trust me, your business is going to go down. So I had to like step up my game. I quit so many things that have to be available. And one other thing I do is I train my staff, and we all have like a day in a week where we talk. We have to have this interaction. Tell me what you feel, and I'll tell you how I feel about it too. And we kind of look for a mutual ground to balance it. And fast forward to my journey to Canada, I I seem to be like the only person in my family that doesn't have a master's degree. So this is about what you want, though. When my parents and my sisters were like, "Why don't you want to have a master's degree?" So I was like, "Okay, if I have my master's, I don't want to do engineering again. I already gained a ground in what I do. I don't want to have a master's in." They were like, "Okay, why don't you go for business administration?" And I told them it doesn't add to me. Business administration doesn't add to me. So the only thing I did was like, okay, if I could get a course in the same field I am, but I didn't want to go for like the regular baking. So I opted for culinary management, which I came here to do. So during my course as a culinary management student, we had a classroom which talks about you being a chef, how you, what kind of chef are you, how you manage people working with you. So with the knowledge about entrepreneurship in Nigeria, I I started talking in that class. I don't really talk to people like that. I don't talk in class. So they were surprised when I started giving them examples. We had different opinions, and they don't know that our own entrepreneurship in Nigeria is very different for theirs here. So I started talking a lot. I was giving examples. They're like, how come you didn't do this? I'll tell them, okay, I did this. This was the outcome. I did that. This was the outcome. I was always giving examples, like valid examples. So it got to a day my chef had to call me that, why do you have so much examples? And I had to explain to them that I've done this in Nigeria and this was the outcome. So sometimes when you talk, it's way different than what is happening here. So he's like, okay, why don't you give your shot in this? So he sent me like an entrepreneurship stuff, like a grant. And with that grant, it's not a lot of money, but they're going to train you to the entrepreneurship world here. So I took up the challenge and I got the grant. So I started working with them. It was out of the grant, I was able to have some equipment, and started talking to people about what I do. I realized that if in Nigeria, I can easily get referrals that, okay, you do, I do this, and people will be like, oh, okay, I have something I want to do. But here, you have to sell yourself to people. You have to tell them what you can do. So as I was talking to people, I got some some jobs from places I didn't think I could get, like some universities. some corporate organizations. And ever since then, I've been trying to like maintain the standard. In Nigeria, you can do anything and get away with it. Like if you do something and you are able to like talk people out, it's not like this. This was actually what caused it. But here, you must maintain your standard and make sure you don't give gaps because the competition tool here is very high. So that's how my entrepreneurship journey has been. Sorry, pardon me, I can't talk too much. I'll have to go off the phone. Thank you so much for the invite. Jazakumullah khairan.
Um, we appreciate you, and that was interesting. What I found interesting the most is about the fact that even if where a lot of people in family have this master degree, I believe there will be like some pressure from people. Oh, why don't you take your master degree? You stood your ground. You know what you want, what you wanted. Not just following. Oh, I think everybody's taking this. I should take mine too. But you knew what you wanted, and you followed your dream. Like I said before, looking at sustainability, having that bold and that thought that coming from Otta, when you mentioned it, I was like, Otta to VI, that will not be easy. But you like I mentioned, you knew what you wanted, and finally you knew that and before I take up this, I think I should have this background knowledge. I should go to a school. And that was that, like you mentioned, that was helpful in your journey through an entrepreneur. Not to waste because we spend a lot of time and the time is not on our side again. We're moving on to the QA session. Apologies, I can see that. Can you hear me? Moving on to the QA session. Can anyone with question drop their question in the chat? So we'll be reading to our speakers to give us answers to that.
I think Brother Adibwale Amriko is raising up his hand. I don't know. Can you unmute yourself, Adibwale?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I sincerely appreciate all the speakers. And my take home from everything said, I'll start from Brother Habib. Even the three of them, they are all chemical engineering graduates. This is a very good one for us, because we should leave this four corner of I'm a graduate of this, I'm a graduate of that. We all have this business acumen in us. We all need to just strive out. Because Brother Habib made us to understand so many things. And in honest truth, I learned so much from his experience. And Brother Taufik Rufaitu, I can see my brother is now a corporate person in business life, because he speaks more of corporate entity than a chemical person now. And why the business and the organization is still thriving, plus his own experience in the private sector, adding that to the public sector is actually paving way for them. And then, like Sister Sharifa also said, availability is key. And Brother Abib also made us to understand that.
Sister Sekina.
Sister Sekina, okay, yes.
Yes.
They made us to understand that any business we are going into, availability is very, very important. And the experience, because if we don't have experience of something, I want to do it. A lot of people will just do one or two things and then drop you by the road. But what I would want them to do, the question I have for the three speakers is this. Okay, it might be very difficult for our sister in Canada, but if there is any idea they can just chip in for us here in Nigeria, and those of us that are the corporate entity, either you are a government worker or you are a corporate person. But Taufik has also made us to understand that there are so many things you can do rather than just being a paid employee for the rest of your life. You can as well have a side hustle like you did. We want to beg Brother Abib too, if there are small business entity that someone can just say, okay, oh, I want to invest 500,000, rather than keeping money in the bank. Give us an insight into those things. We can as well partner with you and give us the percentage that will come out of the money in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year. Because the inflation rate in Nigeria today is so killing that if you have 500,000 naira today, is in the next 6 months is less than 250,000 naira, because the inflation keep going and going. But when we invest in a business that is halal and our money will grow, at the same time when we are at the age that we are not that strong again, we can easily fall back on those business and continue from there, rather than putting our money into an entity that we don't know much about and nobody is even there to guide us. Because Brother Abi made us to understand export business, real estate, education. Brother Abi, wallahi, you're on the right track and Allah will put barakah in it. Because the three you have mentioned, even two, real estate and education, is a lifetime investment. At the point you will not do anything, the money will just keep coming. If these are the things that we can as well go into, okay, come and support this, bring 500,000. In the next 6 months, you will have 150,000, you will have 200,000. Please and please, that is how Dangote started. These all big companies, we buy shares and we see what they are giving us in return. Very minute. I'm begging and I'm appealing to each and everyone that have other business idea. Let us all sit down and see how we can tap into this idea. Like Brother Rufai said, he has so many ideas in the corporate world, coupled with the private and with the public as well. These things can actually work together and then we can actually flag up something meaningful and be beneficial to all. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan. Um, let me first, let me call on Mr. Bolaji Oduni. Can you please I believe the question is directed to the three speakers, but let me start with Mr. Bolaji Oduni. Can you unmute yourself and
Okay, yeah, Jazakallah khairan. I heard the question, our brother. So the way I'm going to respond to it is, yes, there are these opportunities that the way he has put it, that requires investments and the likes. Now, there are different approaches that you could give to it. One of it is to look at a business, a business that is coming up, and we all try to support the business. Maybe the business, for instance, there are people, there's this brother that is into, what is it called, livestock, that I'm aware that something similar happened to. Alhamdulillah, he's doing fine and he needed a lot of investments, and brothers somehow rallied around. Hey, I have 1 million, I have 500, I have this, I have that. Or established businesses that we know that, okay, these ones already have something going on. Then we can invest and say that, okay, look, typically, how much do you make after this particular period of time? Now, answering it from the point of view of travel as a business now. Yes, we do take things like that. In fact, some of our brothers that are present here in this discussion or this are either at one point in time invested in travel or are currently investing. So it's something that happens. But however, because it is agricultural commodities, it's seasonal. It has a time of harvest, a time of low stock, a time of the peak period and all of that. So it's not something that is open all year round. So it's only happen at the maybe peak period. There is a harvest period, there is the bumper harvest, and you want to get as much stock as possible. Then you seek investment. Oh, let's put all of this money together. Let's do this. So this usually happens at the beginning of the season. Most of the crops we do, the season starts between August to November. Few of them start January, February. So these are but this period of a year, in fact, is the closing out period for some of these commodities. So it's not a good time to talk about this investment. But yes, the opportunity comes. So for anybody, the discussion can start now, but it's not something that can happen right at this period. It has a season, a period, a time frame that okay, this investment can be required and what can be put back. I mean, if it's possible, um, we can reach out outside this, or maybe the organizers can arrange something. I don't know, but it's something possible. It's a possibility. Let me just answer it simply.
Jazakumullah khairan, um, for your insight on the question. There's another question here. I'll be directing it to.
Sorry, maybe we have we have 3 lecturers. So I want to say that maybe we have Sister Sekina about Taufik can also add to that if they have anything.
Okay,
What the brothers
I was just looking at time because we have another question. But
you can just make it snappy, maybe the next 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry, Brother Rufai is no longer a co-host. Can you make him a co-host? Sorry, Brother Rufai.
Okay, I think Brother B's response is spot on. But I think from experience as well, businesses that you want to invest in, you need to understand their risk level. So for well-established business, you would realize that their returns are usually significantly lower. But when you take on a lot of risk, you also expect a lot of reward. So depending on your situation, right, that will determine the type of businesses that you want to invest in. So when you are getting into startups, businesses that are not yet properly structured, when you're getting at that point, those are the times that you can make times 10, times 100, times, percentage of whatever it is that you put in. But for well-established businesses, the type of returns I should expect are usually significantly lower. So when you have some funds, typically the way I advise people is diversify your portfolio. So to diversify your portfolio, it means that you should try and spread out areas that you put in your investment. So, for example, you have the stock market in place where you can invest in companies that meet your requirements in terms of doing halal business, in terms of the type of business area they are into and whatnot. So if you can identify those type of companies, in the event that you can't do that yourself, there are a number of advisory entities that can help you do that at a fee. So depending on the size of investment that you want to put in there, you can seek out those type of service providers. They would do that for you, and they help you manage that portfolio. No matter how small it is, there are different exchanges, there are different funds traded that can allow you easy access into whatever sector you desire to get into, be it real estate and whatnot. So a lot of people would think that to invest in real estate, you need a lot of money, or you can get into but on direct investment into smaller entities, right? Again, I said earlier, what is usually lacking is character. And that's what I typically would look for in any high risk investment I want to get into. So you look for the character, because when there are no processes in place, what can really hold together investments is the character of the promoters. And beside the typical business risk, if you have people that are well disciplined, people with character, then you expect that the businesses should at least go a long way, allow willing. So I think basically that would be my own advice. Are there opportunities? I'm sure that those conversations we can begin to have outside of this meeting. Thank you.
Sister Sekina, do you have 1 or 2 things to chip in on this?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The other 2 speakers have said it all. But one thing I actually like to emphasize for people is that whatever business you want to do, or whatever thing you want to venture into, one, make sure you have your background check. Your background check should be very, very important. And two, you must have interest, because if you don't have interest in it, sometimes what they tell you, you don't understand. You just you don't just seem to have interest in it. And when it's like that, the people you want to entrust, you are entrusting, or they want to like partner with you, feel you don't have the capacity, or you don't have the required knowledge, or you don't just have the zeal for it. So it might be like a minus or your own part. So what our advice is, have basic interest and do a well background check. Thank you.
No, Jazakumullah khairan. Sorry, brother, because Brother Malik. So just one thing. Inshallah, from last mega, we'll look at how we can support our entrepreneurs and how we can also encourage our members to invest in their business. So hopefully, we'll look at what we can do on that, what process or program we can organize so that both parties can meet, discuss, and we see how we can move forward from there. Jazakumullah khairan. So, Brother Malik, you can continue with the question and answer session.
Now, Jazakumullah khairan. This will be our last question for the QA section. The questioner said, entrepreneurship is really rewarding, but needs huge sacrifice. So many of us like the reward, but are struggling to sacrifice. Should we take our faith and continue as salary earners, or are there ways we can explore to eat our cake as a salary earner and also have it by building businesses? I would direct the question to Mr. Femi Rufai. Please, can you
Okay.
give an answer?
Okay. Jazakallah khairan. So I think, like I said earlier, right, and which is the situation I'm also in, a lot of us are not comfortable enough to get ourselves out there and do full entrepreneurship. However, there are still a lot of opportunities to have side hustles. So, like the sister said, some of us have passion. There are things that we like, that we do for fun, that you can monetize, right? That you don't necessarily have to leave your time paid employment to pursue some of those opportunities. And with the power of social media, the power of this internet global village, some of these solutions or services can be sold virtually or even physically over the weekends and whatnot. So yes, there are obviously opportunities. So what is important is to identify the problems, the challenges people are facing, and gradually start to render these services while you continue to do your full-time paid employment. I believe that you yourself would understand at the right point that the side hustle you think is beginning to make more sense than your paid employment, and you can easily ease out of the paid employment to full-time entrepreneurship. One thing is certain, entrepreneurship is not the bed of roses. It's up and down. Sometimes it could be very good and sometimes it could be challenging. So once we are ready for it, and I think that's why a lot of us are not into it. We like the idea of the comfortable monthly predictable payment, right? Than the uncertainties around the entrepreneurship. So one more thing I want to add before I pass on the mic is that for every business you want to invest in, please ensure you understand what exactly it is you're investing in. So a lot of businesses are out there today that you struggle to understand what value they are adding, how they are making the money. And those are the things we call Ponzi schemes. So please understand what exactly you are putting your money into before getting into it. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan for that. There's a question here, but I don't think we have time to take that. Brother Abdullahi Babatunde, please, you can send your question after this thing. We have spent most of our time and we still have more sessions to go. We'll be moving on to the quiz session. That will be handled by our brother Idu Sodiq. Brother Sodiq, you have the floor.
But Sadiq, your audio is not connected. I don't know. Sadiq, do.
Assalamu alaikum
Okay, can.
Okay, I'll be sharing my screen shortly. Please give me a minute.
While we are waiting for our Sadiq, I just want to give a brief on this Slido question that will be coming up. So it's going to be a series of questions related to the lectures we've had, and the winner of the quiz will be going home with a token of 50,000 naira to support his or her business. So I want every one of us to get set our devices, maybe a pad, maybe your laptop, maybe your phone. So that once the link is shared, you log in. And I also want to advise that you log in with your official name, probably the name that will be attached to your bank account, so that when you are the winner and we reach out to you, you'll be able to identify the winner with the name on the bank account. So I wish everyone participating in this session good luck, and may Allah put barakah in the money, and also the donors for supporting the program. So, Pastor Dick, are you available now?
Yes, I am.
I shared the link to
I just shared the link to the chat box, so we can all click on the chat icon to get a view of the link to the Slido game. As the president had earlier advised, let's ensure that we correctly spell out our names, so that will be well projected once we start to populate or display the winners. And that would be a key criteria also for selecting the winners. And just to add as well, we are looking at accuracy, and also you need to ensure that you select the correct answers, and you do that swiftly, because it's also accuracy and speed. I'll be sharing my screen and we'll get started with the Slido game. Just confirm when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so we want more people to join the game. We have just 13.
Don't mind my name. I'm not participating. I'm just observing.
All right, sir. So we expect more people to join. Can see we have about 15 so far. Guess we can do better. The links has been shared on the chat box, so let's try to participate.
Someone suggests we give like 1 minute.
Okay.
So join, set up their network, and get set.
All right, sir. So we'll be starting by 11:28, inshallah. Okay, so it's 11:28 already, so we need to start the game now. So we're on question 1. Let's ensure to put in the right answers, and speed accuracy is also considered to select the winners. Okay. Move to the next question. What keeps entrepreneurs going during tough times? We cannot say that these are questions that if we had listened carefully during the sessions of each of our speakers, we would sure have answers to these questions. Up to the next question. You can see our leaderboard. Question 3. What's one common theme in most entrepreneurial journeys? Okay, to the next question. What role does storytelling play in entrepreneurship? I can see. To the next question. In less than 3 seconds to the next question. We can see our top players. Speed accuracy is considered, so let's ensure we select the right answers. 13 votes so far. Question gone. Which among the speakers is based in Canada? If you are listening attentively, these questions are very simple. On to the next. What's a common reason passionate entrepreneurs struggle in business? I'm getting close to the end. For those who are still far behind, we still have some more opportunity to, outplay those who are leading currently. Who among the speakers is a commodity trader of international repute? Go on.
Some people chose my name.
Olufemi Rufai these are simple questions, really. I think you all got that. Reveal answers. So we've come to the end of this online game. We want to once again appreciate everyone who participated in this Slido game. We can all see the leaderboard, and we have Mr. Qasim Abu Aisha topping the board. He got all of the questions within 1 minute, 9 seconds. Second on the list is Mr. Kinyemi Babatunde Aisha, 10 over 10, but just Abu Aisha was just a second ahead of him. And third on the leaderboard is Mrs. Noimo Yakub, 10 over 10, but she spent 1 minute, 18 seconds on the game. So it's more around accuracy and speed. Once again, Jazakallah khair for participating. We look forward to having you all in the next session for this game.
Jazakumullah khairan. Congratulations to Qasim Abu Aisha for that session. Okay, so I'll reach out to you for your account details and you get your 50K before the end of today, inshallah. Congratulations. Or you don't need it because some entrepreneurs don't need the money. Do you need the money? Okay, so Jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, our next session is tomorrow. What's it called? So let me just display tomorrow's session so that everyone can see. We're also having 3 big entrepreneurs that will be presenting to us tomorrow. They will share their stories and their insights, and inshallah, we'll be looking forward to hearing their story as well. We have Sister Idayan Balogun, or Mr. That's the CEO of Naima Supermarket. We have Brother Abdul Sabur Abdurrahim, the co-founder of Banamaj, and we have Muhyiddin Ashil, the CEO of Cloud Vantage. We are going to hear another set of interesting stories tomorrow. Let's come prepared, and let's come and have that opportunity again to win another 50,000 naira cash. Jazakumullah khairan. Back to you, Brother Malik.
Jazakumullah khairan. That was a very good session handled by our brother Sadiq. We plan to stop this by 11:30 and this is 11:35. So moving on to the next session, which is the closing remark, and that will be handled by Engineer Ibrahim Idowu, popularly known as E-Square. Right, Ibrahim, you have the floor.
Assalamualaikum Tila. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much, our anchor for today, and thank you to everyone who has taken their time to also to join these sessions. We thank our speakers for today too. I'm sure all of us have learned greatly from their talks. Pray that Allah make it easy for every one of us. I want to charge us to try as much as possible to be available for tomorrow's sessions and subsequent ones. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, shadu ala ila anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum tila.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That will be all for today. Thank you once again for joining. We appreciate our speakers, the guests, and every single participant. If you'd like to listen to previous sessions, you can catch the previous ones on the Lasomega YouTube channel. You can reach out to the stakeholders. Jazakumullah khairan. To meet again tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
إنا نحن نحيي ونميت وإلينا المصير يوم تشقق الأرض عنهم سراعا ذلك حشر علينا يسير نحن